Yo, all right. Hello, welcome. Looks like I'm still waiting on Camel Moon to arrive, so I guess I'll just start the show. I said I would start at this time, so Camel Moon's got the link. Hopefully he shows up soon. The man himself, the man of the hour. I'm not sure what's going on there, but we've got a couple of people here. Chengiz Khan is here. Kidler Hellcraft, how you going? Yeah, I hope some more people rock up and we can get this party started. But I've got a bunch of things I can show. This is the animation show. Cool little special here. We're going to talk animation. We're going to talk to Hal Chat about to Camel Moon about Hal Salad. Matthias Rex is here. How you going, buddy? Matthaus. I'm probably pronouncing that really awfully. But yeah, welcome. Let's get some more people in here. Hoping I'm not getting any messages on Twitter that saying, oh, I'm stuck somewhere, I can't make it. But we're just going to plow ahead. You guys, I put out the thing. I said we're going to talk animation. So come hell or high water, we're going to talk animation. I'm going to leave Hal Salad here for the moment. And I'm going to, one sec, let me unshare this. And oh, I hate that big screen. Oh, no thanks. Let's get into just start. I've got a few of my own things I can show here, I suppose. We've got this one here. We could watch a few cartoons while we wait for Camel Moon to show up.
These are actors. These are people who could be doing something else, and they're on the big screen actually selling our characters. And we can't make it work because we're in the comic book industry going, well, yeah, Robert Downey Jr. is pretty good as the Iron Man, but I think it'd be much better if we just killed him and just added a little teenage black girl with a bad attitude.
Yeah, I've said this before, but I'll say it again. It's creators that did not capitalize on the greatest advertising push for comics in the history of anything. You had the biggest 20 run of movies ever made. It's unprecedented. And what did you do? When everybody in the world knew who Tony Stark was, who Iron Man was, and they went into a comic store, who was it? It was Riri Williams. When everybody in the world knew who fucking Hawkeye was for the first time in 60 years, it was a household name. Let me go in it. Where's Hawkeye? That's her over there. It's Kate Bishop. You fucking creators that did not capitalize. Well, I want to see Thor. Where's his comics? Oh no, it's her. It's that woman. That woman. No, you assholes. You artists. You creators at the fucking mainstream. You destroyed these shops. It was you. It's like there's nobody else to fucking point the finger at. You were given a legacy by your betters, by the Stanleys and Dickos and Kirby's, and your betters gave you a legacy, and the best you could come up with was Riri Williams and Kamala Khan. You fucking destroyed this shit.
Damn straight. Hail Cecil, hail EVS. We've got some more people coming in here. Bugan Bockwinkel. Mateus Rex. Yeah, I should know that. But I've lost my accent. My accent is gone. Ask my wife. She laughs every time I try and speak anything, even remotely German. Yeah, I'm not sure what's happening. I was just checking the time there. It is definitely 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I got that right. I know it's weird with the time zone stuff, but I'm pretty sure I got that right. So it's gonna be awkward to talk about Hail Salad and Camel Moon's amazing cartoons and animations if he's not here. So yeah, I'm not really sure where we're going to go from here. I'm just going to talk to the chat. We've got 6 people in here come in to see some awesome animation chat. So I guess I'll just talk to you guys. And later on, assuming the show goes ahead as planned, I will be showing I will be premiering a 25-second little snippet of my upcoming cartoon. It's a lot in the same vein as the last one, where you've got EVS just by himself ranting about the state of masculinity in pop culture. And in this one, he'll be talking about comic books. He'll be talking about Marvel. And yeah, it's really good stuff. So I've got a little 25-second clip to play later when once the show gets started. Changus Khan says, I miss the Space Ghost parodies. So do I, man. They were just, there was just something about them, wasn't it? You know what I loved about them? I loved that VHS effect he does where you kind of set the RGB channels slightly off kilter, and it gives that old VHS effect. I love that. It adds so much charm to it. I'm gonna have to learn to say this. Boognish Bockwinkle. I'll just call you Bockwinkles. It's still a Space Ghost parody. Yeah, I suppose it is. It's his own take on it. I've got so many questions to ask him about it, but unfortunately, he's not here. So I'm not sure what's going on there. We were chatting away a storm on Messenger on the DMs last night, and he's last was, see you. We're gonna have fun tomorrow, but it's only 10 minutes late. That's okay. We'll power through. I've learned how to just keep waffling on. Maybe we can play another cartoon to pass the time. We can just start playing my cartoons. It's after all, it is my channel. We'll see. What have I got? What else have I got here? I've got I don't know. Am I share? Yes. The audio may not share though. That's a problem. That is a problem. Share this. God, I wish Streamlabs was a little bit more intuitive on this sense. All right. Who's suspended from Twitter? Camel Moon is just suspended from Twitter. Who's saying that? Camel Moon's not suspended from Twitter, is he? If he's suspended from Twitter, then he wouldn't have been able to get my DMs. Let me have a look. I'm going to click on his thing. He's still there. You know what I'm going to do? If he's suspended from Twitter, is that for real? I don't see. I'm seeing he's got stuff there. I don't know if he can't get messages, then we're in a spot of bother. Do I just chuck the message in the chat? Camel Moon, if you're in the chat, let me know, and I'll put the message in the chat. Yeah, I don't know. We were still waiting, so maybe he's just running slightly late. That happens. It happens to the best of us. Here we go. I'm going to play this one. Samurai's here. You know what? That's what I'm going to do. While we're waiting, I'm going to bring in, because I like to have someone to talk to. It feels weird to just kind of talk into the air. I'm going to send a link to Samurai, and we can chat animation together if Moon is unable to arrive. I'm sure he will be. He said I haven't heard anything to say that he won't be coming. This is a fantastic show. This is exactly how I envisioned it happening. Good times. All right. What do we got here? We're going to play the War on Boys, I think. The masculinity cartoon. Let's play that. Give you guys something to chew on while we wait.
Here's the other thing to remember about pop culture, okay? The people who like Star Wars, the people who like Dungeons and Dragons, the people who like video games and comic books, these are smart people. So the culture that they're taking in is vital. This is a battleground. What we teach our boys, what we teach our smart, exceptional, special boys, it's important. Are we teaching them the masculine version of Thundercats? Or are we showing them the Cal Arts soy-based pussy version of Thundercats? Are we mocking masculinity, or are we cherishing it? We're making it look cool. We're giving these boys something to aspire to. That's what all of this stuff means. These are the things that actually shape our ideas of what it means to be a man. And if these social justice warriors, these soy boys, can get in there and they can monkey with it and they can change it and they can make it embarrassing to be a man, if they can demasculinize and de-penis Luke Skywalker, put him in a bathrobe as a failure, somebody who gives up and literally sucks on sea monster tit, instead of fighting the First Order, which is what he should be doing. What kind of message does that send to our boys? How are boys supposed to grow up without Luke Skywalker? How are boys supposed to grow up if Batman is sitting there whining about Selena Kyle all day long? Boys don't have the role models that they used to have because the most incredibly depressed, mentally ill weirdos have taken complete control of our pop culture, and they're ruining it. You want to pump out more soy boys that look like Will Wheaton? This is the inevitable result of all of this. This is where we're going. This is why we fight so hard. These boys need heroes. They need masculine role models. They need heroes, people who don't sit around and cry and mope and whine, people who put themselves last, who put heroism, their country first. It's so important. I know it seems silly to cry about Captain Marvel or Star Wars or The Last Jedi. You can't stop until they change what they're doing, until they wake up and realize that they're destroying people. They're taking away our balls. Our boys are growing up to be pussies because they don't know any better. They're afraid of offending these blue-haired land whales on social media. They're afraid.
Samurai, you here?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, thanks for popping in. Yeah, we've got a bit of confusion going on here. Are you in Eastern Standard Time?
Let's see. The East, we're on daylight time, but whatever. People still say standard. And right now on Eastern, it's 6:15.
Okay, so I'm not a total retard then. It is it is the right time.
One of your announcements said 6. God, I can't even remember now. Never mind. I thought it was 6 Central Time, but I don't know what you said.
Oh, did it? No, I'm pretty sure it said EST.
Yeah, I just woke up, so we'll just
look. It's all right. It's all right. We can still talk animation. Smiling Banditos here. Hail and well met. Yeah. Let's see. Well, look, we just do what we normally do here. We just talk to the chat because hail the chat. We love the chat. Mateo says there's lots of Vampirella in my background. Yes. I don't know. I just like the Ethan Van Sciver stuff. So I don't plan on buying any more Vampirella. It's not that I'm a fan of Vampirella. I just like the Van Sciver covers pretty much. Best CG animation. Woo. Cecil promos or House Salad. Does anyone remember who's the guy who does Cecil's animations? Because they're full on. They're proper animations. They're no little like I do with my little cartoons where I just have a still and the mouth opens and closes. They're the real deal. I would love to get him on and bend his ear for a little bit. I can't remember his name though off the top of my head. No. Yeah, that was my bad. I was probably just typing that really quickly and just kind of put in the wrong thing. But no, I'm definitely been chatting to the right fellow on Twitter. That's for sure. We've been chatting in DMs for the last couple of days talking about this. So aha.
Camel Moon Art.
Hang on. The man himself, Camel Moon, you're here.
Sorry. Yeah, everything got fucked up. I think I told you Eastern Standard Time. I meant Central.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's totally on me. Because I was like, why did he send me this link so early? And then I was like, oh, fuck, I got to get in there.
Oh, man. I'll sorry. Well, yeah, there's obviously a little bit of miscommunication there.
Yeah, luckily I'm not too late, so.
Yeah, it's all good. I figured. I thought it must be something to do with the time zones. I just had to be. Because, we were chatting. It was all fine and everything. And, great to have you here, man.
Yeah, it's nice to finally see you face-to-face, so to speak.
Yep, for sure.
And Blue Samurai, what do I know you from something?
No, you do not.
Oh,
Blue
okay.
Samurai. Blue Samurai. He's my mate here. We chat on this channel. I just kind of got him on now because I wasn't sure. You know, if I stuffed up the time zones, that you would say, I don't know, still sleeping or I don't know.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
it's not
yeah.
the right time. Yeah. So, well, great to have you here, man.
Yeah, man. So yeah, let's start this show up.
Get this party started. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I played a little bit of your animation, Ellie, just the start of it.
Oh, okay. I actually got something in the mail today that I figured I'd show you guys.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
got the first. These are the. So I went to the printer, and I had them send me. These are the holographic covers.
Ooh, let me bring that up.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
So I had them do 3 different versions so I can see kind of what looks the best. This one has no color on the background, so it lets the foil bleed through in the white.
That looks sick.
And then this one is, I actually put a rainbow in the background, and it might be hard to tell online, but it actually looks really good.
Awesome.
And then this one is just a little bit darker to give it some type of depth. This is actually the one that I posted online.
Yeah.
That's nice.
So like you could really kind of see a bit of a difference. No, so I might put it on Twitter and see which one everyone likes most.
I think I like the darker one best. I like that contrast. But I like them all, but I think I like the darker one best.
This one here, there was a comic book that came out in the 90s. This one's so 90s to me. And it was like when Superman finally came back and there's a bunch of fireworks in the background. It looked just like that. So yeah, I'm not really sure because they all look so good. I might do it in print runs. Maybe, print 1 will have the dark background. Maybe print 2 will have the holographic one. I'll kind of have to decide from there.
Awesome. So they'll be covers? Is that what you're looking at there? That we're looking at?
Those are going to be for the foil covers. And then, I'm pretty sure I'm not really, so the basic cover that won't be holographic, I haven't actually finished the art for that yet, but that's the one that everyone keeps asking, like, is John Malin going to be in one? He's going to be in the basic cover.
Right.
Yeah.
Samurai, we'll just say goodbye to you for now.
Okay.
Thanks so much for popping in.
No problem. Got the seat
and helping out. Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll see you later. All right. Cheers.
Yeah. Sorry.
All right. So no, that's all good. Like you said, a little bit of a misunderstanding, but hey, it's happening now. We're here together. So look, maybe we just start from the beginning of time. I think a lot of people here will no doubt know about your House Salad stuff, about your Space Ghost stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But maybe they just don't know that much about you, the man. How did you how did you get into this? Have you been CG since the start?
It's funny. I'm sure a lot of people know this by now, just through being on a variety of shows. I used to work for a website, I technically still do, called Double Toasted. And I had a show there. And it was sort of like I don't know, Conan O'Brien light. It was just kind of like just sort of I wouldn't really call it a variety. It was more of an interview type show, but we used to do sort of skits in between. And that's where I started learning how to do like real base animation, just like, pretty much After Effects looking stuff. And I did that for a while. And I feel like comic books, I started seeing more and more people. Like I had always wanted to draw comics, so I was always doing them on the side. And I started seeing more and more people who were like looking for avenues to, sort of promote their stuff. And I don't even think Ethan was around yet. So this is like 2016, 17, before I think CG really exploded the way it did. And I remember suggesting to my boss at Double Toasted, I was like, it'd be great is like if we could somehow use our platform here to support people who want to make comic books. And it was like, because we already have the audience. So it might, really work in a sort of symbiotic relationship to try to get people to promote their work. And, and what happened was Peter Samedi at Alterna had just started. He had been doing it for a while, but he had just started taking submissions. So I was like, that's a great model, but we actually already have an audience. And the idea was kind of, knocked around for a minute, and then eventually it was just kind of like, turned down because it was just sort of a logistical nightmare and it would have required a whole lot of people instead of just me doing it. So I just kept, working on my own stuff. And I remember I had to do a show, and I'm trying to think what the story was. It was like, what's his name? J.J. Abrams' kid was allowed to do a Spider-Man comic. So this is a little bit about a year ago. And I remember thinking, like, this is fucking nepotism bullshit. Like, you have people trying to claw their way into the comic book industry, and this kid just gets a free pass because of who his dad was. And it really ticked me off. So I was like, I can't be the only person who thinks this. And I'm looking for notes for my show. And I Googled, and not Googled, but rather, was looking on YouTube, and Ethan came up, and he did a whole thing about it. And I was like, oh, this guy's hilarious. And I had actually been watching his stuff for a couple years before, and I didn't realize it was the same person because I used to watch a lot of his portfolio reviews.
Yeah, you wouldn't think it was the same person.
You wouldn't. You'd have no idea because he's so mild-mannered in the other ones, because he still has DC on his back, I guess, So
he can still do that voice too. You were watching his stream yesterday where he was switching between.
Oh, yeah.
And then he's going back. Yeah, it's funny.
So I was like, oh, this guy's hilarious. So I started watching more of his videos, and then, eventually, like any rabbit hole, you get to a point where you're like, okay, I've got to just buckle down. I'm going to do one of these 3-hour streams and see what this is all about. And I just couldn't stop laughing. And I was like, this guy's hilarious. Like, his whole crew is hilarious. And they started talking about what Comicsgate was. I was like, what the hell is Comicsgate? I kind of had my pulse on the industry a little bit, but it was still kind of new at the time. And so I kept, reading on Twitter and all these other places that it was a hate group. I was like, what the fuck are they talking about? Like, I've been listening to this thing unbiased for, 2 or 3 months at this point, so I started doing my own research, and I found out sort of the whole history of it. And then after listening to it for a while, I was like, this is completely inflammatory for no purpose. So I wrote an article and I posted it on my website. And I guess, I don't really know, I guess a fan must have sent it to him or something. And he ended up reading it on his show. And I was like, oh, that's hilarious. So he read this whole article that I wrote about how I thought Comicsgate was, pretty, reasonable, and I was like, everything they're doing and saying makes a lot of sense. And honestly, they're kind of reminding me a lot of what Image was going through, when the majority of those people left, because they were like, this is ridiculous. We don't want to work for these idiots. But now, unfortunately, the culture war was attached to it. So, the stakes were a little bit higher. And, so anyway, I just continued listening. And one episode in particular, I was like, God, this reminds me of Space Ghost. The way that they were interacting with each other and the way that they were, the sort of pregnant pauses and all that kind of stuff. So I had never really done any full-time, like, real animation. So I was like, I wonder if I can just put it together. I wonder, like, what this would look like. I'll make it 3 or 4 minutes. And quite honestly, I'll put it on my YouTube if people want to watch it. I thought I was going to get booed out of the chat so fast. But it was funny to me. So I was like, I'll just post it. And, who knew it blew up? It's almost at 4,000 views right now and like 600 likes. And, for this little nothing project, I didn't really think was going to have any legs. And, that kind of blew up into something. And then I started going into the chat and I started seeing Hail Camel Moon and over and over and over. And, on multiple streams now, whether it was the Jack Show or, Cecil Says, they were talking about the Space Ghost stuff. And I had never even really been on Twitter. So, I had an account, but it was pretty much inactive. And one of the buttons that you can check when you have a YouTube buddy is it'll tell you what's going on Twitter and all of the the links that are being shared. So I clicked on it and it was fucking rampant. I was like, oh my God, this thing is blowing up. So I started becoming more active on Twitter, and I started to realize that there was maybe something here past just doing a couple of cartoons. So I was like, all right, let me maybe see if there's an Indiegogo here, right? I could do a couple more of these and see if people are really interested in it. And I think everybody knows at this point, it for what it was, for a relative unknown, I think it did pretty well. I think we got about $3,000 in 4 days, which for almost all other Indiegogos is like kind of average or tepid. But for a nobody who wasn't selling comics, I was kind of impressed with that.
I know what you're saying. Yeah, absolutely.
And I was like, oh, okay, well, great. I mean, and you could look at those projections, and it was projecting to go anywhere from 14 to 20 within the month. And at one point, Ethan even says, like, I think we can get this to 100,000. And I was like, holy shit, falling out of my chair. And I'm like, telling my wife, like, this is going to be great. Literally the next day, I got a cease and desist from Warner Brothers. And they were like, no, this is not, we don't consider it parody. Now, I did a lot of parody work, sort of like law and all that stuff, because I used to work at A&E and History Channel. And, I've done stuff for NASCAR and Pepsi, like editing and all that kind of stuff. So, like, I had a pretty good sort of what I thought was a firm grasp on what was considered fair use and what wasn't. And what I had found out was that parody is one of the few things that you can't, there's no actual guideline for it. It's all case by case, and all has to be done in court. And the reason for that is that parody varies so much.
There's so many gray areas.
And that's exactly what it is. It's so gray. And I have a friend who is a lawyer, and he told me specifically, he's like, you could probably possibly win this thing. He goes, you rebuilt all the assets.
Yep.
There's clearly what they call I think it needs to be transformative. I'm probably using the wrong word, but essentially you need to be able to take the content and change it to the point where it's not really identical. And honestly, I don't think anyone with half a brain was watching the Roast to Roast and thinking that Space Ghost was back on Cartoon Network. And if you did, then, God help you. So he's like, is this, my friend was like, is this really the hill that you want to die on? He's like, because you get to fly to LA. You're going to have to like go to court. You're going to turn into Zach fighting over just, you're going to turn into a crazy person, not saying Zach's a crazy person, just, the amount of effort.
You heard it here first, people.
Yeah.
Camel Moon thinks Zach's a crazy person.
Yeah. I'm just going to delete
Clip that.
And, I was like, yeah, you're right. And I like low key was like, gosh, is this, personally even really what I want? I was like, I have a lot of ideas. Do I really want to make a ton of money on, although it is a parody, really, it's space
derivative.
Ghost. It is. It's super derivative. So I was like, well, let me just, I had been toying with characters that were going to appear on the Space Ghost. And I was like, well, let me just rework these and kind of change some of the backgrounds. And before I knew it, I was like, oh, I think we have something a little different. And the biggest source of contention when I started was the foot. Because I remember I drew this, like, I don't know what I was smoking that day. I was like, it's like a foot, but he's a bat. I don't know. And originally, it was supposed to be Cecil's character. And I just couldn't make it work. Like, there was no connective tissue. It didn't work at all. And I was like, there's no reason for him to be a foot. I was like, who do I know that's a Bigfoot? And my light bulb went off. I was like, oh, how fucking stupid am I? I was like, of course, it has to be Smuggler's, right? Because of Bigfoot Bill. So I was like, I'll make him blue. It'll be Bigfoot Blue. And, and there were a lot of people who didn't even realize that when the cartoon launched. And I was like, just, give it a second and it'll sink in. Because I had a lot of people thinking like, oh, it should be another dirt worm type thing. And I was like, no, you know what? They've already got that covered. I don't need to do that. I can go in a different direction. And then everything else just kind of fell into place. And and then, people liked it. And that was the biggest thing. I made sure that the music was original. So that's purchased licensed music. So I own that. I can do whatever I want with it. And with my history and editing and yada, 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 I was able to cobble together, sort of like using I don't know, almost like word salad, just like random sentences, put them in, and then see how the sentence structure worked. I was like, you could create a pretty hilarious narrative. And then Hail Salad was born.
Well, yeah, man, great intro. Thanks so much for going through all that, because I think a lot of people are really interested in kind of the whole story behind it and the man behind it. We've got some people in here. Smiling Bandito says it's better now anyway. Turtle Rabbit says these designs are so much better. Mayfield Jukes, the professional skill really shows. Hal Salad is a professional grade all the way. Let's just take a quick look at some of what you got here. I've got this loaded up here. Let's have a look.
Hi. Okay, I guess I'm back.
What's up, everyone?
Everyone's here. I don't believe it.
We have a planned special guest tonight.
Hey, what's going on?
Can we just talk about it for a second? What is the matter with Cecil?
While he's not here, that's the best time to talk shit about him.
And get on camera, Cecil.
Cecil, hi.
Stop yelling at me. I'm a real human boy with feelings. Why do people keep forgetting that?
I don't know.
Look at me. I've got.
I think you've really kind of just, like you said, you tuned into the show, you thought it was hilarious, you picked up that there's a lot of good comedic timing going on these shows.
Yeah.
And it was just sort of, it's just so ripe for something like this. I love the addition of Wanger. This is actually my favorite episode of yours ever.
Yeah, I got a lot of that when it came out. I think it's like, the second episode requires a lot of listening, whereas this one I went more visual based because it just sort of reinforces whatever you're hearing. And you take notes as you do something. So it's just like, okay, this works. This doesn't work. Let's make sure that we continue down this path. And the next episode, which I'm hesitant to say, will have both Kelsey and Anna in it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, people are going to be excited about that, I'm sure.
It's funny. I had the exact same experience that you described. Like I've been there watching these guys since pretty much the beginning. I was a bit like you. I was watching Zach. I wasn't watching Ethan until he kind of found his voice,
Yeah.
And started getting Cecil on regularly and John and all those guys, and it became like a variety hour. It became this hilarious show. But I never got that idea, that feeling to make a cartoon about it until I heard that one. I played it earlier. It was Cecil ranting about how Marvel screwed up the whole Marvel Comics. Screwed up when they didn't capitalize on what the MCU was doing. And just kind of like you, I guess, I just had this inspiration just came into me out of nowhere.
And you feel like you have to do it.
And like you were, you thought this sounds like a space ghost. I heard Ricky Gervais, the Ricky Gervais show. The timing, what I love about the way that Cecil and Ethan talk is they use a lot of visuals in their language. They make a lot of references.
Yeah.
So like I was hearing Cecil talk and I was seeing that Ricky Gervais style show where they just pop things in and out really quick.
Yeah.
And it's just visual gags. And they add like an exclamation point. They're a punch, on top of what's being said.
Yeah.
And so I had that moment as well. I saw it in my head, and I was like, I have to make this. I have to make this.
Yeah.
And I've played around with animation for decades. Never anything serious. And my animation is probably a lot less involved than yours. I'm literally just taking, still frames. You've got a frame of them with their mouth closed, a frame of them with their mouth open, and I stitch them together. So yeah, I'm not saying I'm the great animator or anything, but the final product works. So it's so funny how we had that same moment of inspiration.
Yeah, I think God, I can't remember the guy's name. I feel like an asshole. He does he works for Cecil. Works for, but
the guy who does the animations for his
I would say of the three of us, he's the only one actually doing real animation.
His name is up here. I asked about it earlier. His stuff is in a whole nother.
Yeah, I mean, I joke that I make color forms. I just move stuff across the screen, and put a fancy background on it, But because to actually sit there and draw the same hand, 45 different times in every different direction, I was just like, oh my God, I'll be here all year.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
No.
Yeah, no, I can't. Someone will post his name, Scotty Richards. There we go.
Oh, that's right. Yes, exactly.
Scotty Richards.
Yeah.
So he's doing like the real deal. Maybe we should do another show sometime and get him on, and he can school us on how he does all that.
The Ministry of Propaganda for for comics. Probably need to come up with a better name, right? The Administration of Animators or something. But yeah.
Yeah. Like we've both got comics now, projects that we have to work on. I've got my YouTube channel as well. I work. There's no chance that I'll be able to do like real honest animation. The furthest I go is the furthest I went was I did one with a lightsaber that shrunk in.
Oh,
And
okay.
that was like that's too much. Let's just keep it. Keep
Just the lip
the
flap. That's all you need.
yeah, and I've started using zoom outs and zoom ins. I'm getting really technical,
Yeah.
using that as
The
a thing.
future.
But yeah, that's right. Yeah, but we don't want to go. We don't want to go too far. It's it's funny stuff. But do you go through? Do you just like listen to the streams and just sort of think, okay, I need to put this in? Do you like make little notes as you go? How do you go about getting your
God, I wish I
material?
could sit here and tell you I had some, like grand plan like on the Scorsese. I'm sitting there with like drafts and scripts and everything. That's really not it. I mean, I pull in the streams that I think are the funniest. I throw them on my timeline and I just listen and cut. And then I'm like, okay, this snippet works, this snippet works. And in editing, you call those selects. So you pull your selects and then you put them in a bin. And so I have a bin of that's like, okay, Cecil quotes. I have Ethan quotes. And then it's just kind of like playing Legos after that. You just find out what works. And then based off of, because I did documentary editing for about 5 years. And you could pretty much have people say whatever you want them to say if you can follow the intonation of their voice. So people will lead with certain words, and they'll close a sentence with certain words, and certain thoughts. Sometimes they'll end on an up note, or sometimes they'll end on a down note. Like usually they end on an up note if they're looking for people to approve of what they're saying. And once you start putting that all together, you can make essentially what's a borderline conversation that sounds, somewhat coherent until you actually start listening to it. And then it's like, okay, this is ridiculous. So like what they're saying doesn't
It's
really
a salad.
Yeah, exactly. It's a word salad. So, yeah, so that's usually my process. I would say that pulling the selects takes probably about a day or two. And then I'll be like, okay, so I have all of this stuff. I'll keep black space where I know I need some filler or I need a line or whatever it is. And then if I can't find it in my streams, I'll go back to the source, right? I'll pull up Comics Matter and I'll just start scrubbing through like videos that Zach's pulled. I was like, okay, this works. It's kind of frustrating to have to download an entire stream for 2 lines, but sometimes it's the only way to do it,
Yeah.
And then and then you put it together. So my wife's leaving. Bye, babe. And you hope it works, right? And then one thing that I have definitely felt is super important is if I'm not in tears crying, the joke doesn't work. Like I try to keep what I think is a very high standard. And unfortunately I laugh at everything, but at some point you have to be like, okay, I get that maybe some people would find this funny, but in the end of the day, like, yeah, the deep cuts are the best. It's like if you can't laugh at yourself, and that's really the point, and what I think is so fantastic about Comicsgate. No one's a little bitch. Everybody is like, I can laugh at myself. I don't care what you say. Like I don't know. It was 2 episodes ago. I put a dildo on Ethan's head, and it was funny, and people knew it was funny, and they knew that it was meant with love and not hostility. And I think if you could find that balance without worrying too much about what the audience thinks, but also try to keep it, from becoming mean-spirited, then I think you could have something. I mean, that's what comedy is, right? It's about pushing the envelope, going as far over the edge without actually going over the edge.
Absolutely. Joseph King is here. He says, yo, what's up, guys? Do you know Joseph King, Camel Moon?
I don't know. Do I know you, Joseph King?
He does Slaughter Squad.
I've seen your videos. They're very good. It's the bull, right?
Yeah. I mean, he's another one who really should be schooling us on animation.
That's true.
Because his animation is like the problem with his animation is it's too good. It's so good that whenever he shows it, people say, "Oh, I want to make a whole animation of this. I want to, I want to see a TV show of this." And so he's like, "Well, I'm selling a comic here. This is just to promote it."
Sure.
So yeah, we love Joe. Joe's he's a fantastic animator, and he's got a great book. It's coming out soon, I believe. yeah. So
I think one of the best
it,
things about what we have going on right now is it does remind me of like, yeah, I think it was Ethan who talked about it, sort of like comics in the 90s, where it's like we are all in competition with each other, but only to make ourselves better.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie, when I first saw your Ricky Gervais thing, I was like, who the fuck's this guy trying to steal my thunder? I'm the guy doing the animation. I was like, what, he thinks he's funnier than me? I'll show him. And but no, it's great because it's like you need the bar set higher every time, because otherwise you become complacent and then you're not interested in actually putting out good work. Or you are interested in putting out good work, but you don't have other people telling you how good that work can actually be. So I think it's great that we have real animators that are like, okay, all right, that's how he's doing it. Let me figure out if I can't do it as good as that. Maybe I could find sort of a workaround, or I can try to create something that is funny because of the limited animation capability that I have, and sort of use my faults, as a tool to make it, hopefully funny. Like when Wenger's dick falls out, I was like, that's the simplest animation ever, but it worked because it was so limited in capacity.
Let's watch a little bit more.
Got this cool pineapple shirt on.
He's on the wrong show.
Whoa, look at that.
I dress so much better than that dude.
Your hair is nicer for sure.
Cecil, I don't know if you're aware of this. Susan Day is the big sister from the Partridge Family, and she was totally hot.
Well, that's just your ignorance.
Huh? Why did I hear that then? Why am I confused about that?
I don't ask. I like the mystery.
Oh my God, I wanted to bang Susan Day so bad when I was 4.
4?
So bad.
What are you, a life coach now?
That's when the Partridge Family was on when I was 4.
Partridge Family aired 70 to 74. You never watched that shit live.
I wanted to bang Susan Day when I was 10. So what?
It happens.
I would say this to everyone all the time. I get scared of the laughter of children.
I love the whole. It's you're so right. That John's just completely deadpan, and it just works so well. It's so like his this little like line in there. It just works so well. Ethan's trying to kind of steer the ship, but Cecil is continuously throwing a monkey wrench in and just derailing the whole thing. And yeah, the way they all play off each other, it just works so well. It's funny that you're saying like who's this guy trying to like steal my thunder here. It's because there's so much good stuff to pull from. There's so many different ways you can go with it. So obviously you've got this. I mean, it's still sort of inspired by that original Space Ghost sort of setting you have. Yeah. So it's sort of like a talk show kind of thing. Whereas where I've kind of gone with, mine are like it's just on one topic. Yeah. And it's just like a bit of a clip of Ethan or whoever I choose to cut up. Talking about one thing, one message, and that kind of gets it up there. So, even though we're sort of starting with the same source material, we're ending up with almost sort of completely different styles of things, different end products.
I think in a way, and I guess maybe you could make an argument that Ricky Gervais is one of the first to do it. Although I've seen other people do similar stuff. I think Joe Rogan does something like it too. It's sort of like reality animation, It's like, how would you make a reality show out of animation? Well, you'd have to take people just talking sort of off the cuff and then animate it, and in a way it's its own genre. And when I was creating Hail Salad, I was like, I want that feeling that I had when I was like, 18, 19 years old, and I was at a friend's house, or we were partying all night, and then we would get, drunk, and we'd go downstairs and we'd turn on and we'd watch, like Aqua Teen, or we'd watch Space Ghost. Like, that's what I wanted it to be. I wanted to have that sort of feel to it. And I think that it accomplishes that to some degree. I mean, with the exception of the length, but Cartoon Network or Adult Swim still does minis and stuff like that too.
Yeah, that's how I see it. That's how I see your shows. Your shows are those things that come in between the big half-hour features. And it's just a little thing that everyone always loves. These things, they're just these little things. They pop in, and who did well with that? I don't know how was that guy. They weren't animations. He was doing stop motion stuff. The guy that was on Austin Powers, you know, he was on.
Oh, I don't know.
What's his? He's an actor. Anyway, he was doing stop motion.
Oh, Seth Meyers.
Seth, yeah, is
Wait, did I have that right?
No.
Seth Green.
No, Seth Green. Seth Green. Yeah. They were quite short when you look at take them individually.
Yeah.
And you know, you could sort of, it just has that sort of randomness vibe to it. I love how yours is just it appears kind of all random, but you know, all the comedy is there, and all the timing is there, and it all works, and it's all just absurd and brilliant and funny.
Yeah.
And yeah, I love that element about what you're doing here.
I think you know, I sometimes you wonder, like, the future, right? Like, all right, we'll do hail salad till I'm 55 years old. You know, I don't know. I mean, it's funny. Out of all the jobs I've ever had, this is the one that, although it's sort of self-imposed, is the most fun I've ever had. As soon as I finish an episode, I take a week off to read the comments and, you know, look at the analytics, but then I get right back to it. And it's just like, God, as far as I'm concerned right now, this is all I want to do, you know? So it's amazing to have the sort of the warm blanket of love that Comicsgate has, you know, thrown on you, you know, as a creator, and just be like, wow, you know, I really found people who appreciate what you're doing, you know, and it doesn't feel like such an uphill battle all the time. I think that's the hardest thing for a lot of creators, or if they work for mainstream, they don't need to worry about that, right? Because, you know, DC's taking all of the slack for the things that don't work, and a lot of times a lot of the credit for the things that do.
You were speaking earlier about how you couldn't believe just the hype and everything going on when you first launched your cartoon, and I can attest, I had the exact same thing. You know, I've had some
reviews.
Yeah, I've had some minor success with some things that I've done. Like, I make memes as well. I made a meme of the Titanic sinking, and I overlaid that with Ethan doing SJW quotes.
I didn't know that was you. Okay.
Yeah, I do a bunch of memes, and I did one of there was an ice skating thing where it was it's an ice skating race. It's a famous race from the Olympics, especially famous in Australia because an Australian won.
And
basically,
exactly which one that is. Yeah, and then CG comes up from the behind.
Exactly. Yeah. And I did another one just recently of V for Vendetta. And, you know, they get like a little bit of traction. We're talking kind of hundreds of views.
Yeah.
So that's sort of what I was expecting. I've been lucky that, you know, I kind of tag Ethan or Cecil or John or someone in them, and sometimes they'll share them. And I've been lucky with that. And when that happens, because they've got that big platform,
sure,
you know, to get seen by more people. So I was hoping to get, you know, a few hundred views on this thing. And I put it up, and it just took off like a rocket, like an absolute rocket. Nothing I've ever done before had anything like this. And we're talking comments. Yeah, it's both the videos that I've done. These are the 2-minute ones have gone over like 20,000 views on Twitter. The recent one that I did on masculinity, it's got I think it's coming up to 5,000 on YouTube.
Yeah.
And you're getting comments every day. Sometimes it's causing arguments on Twitter. There's been whole Twitter threads of people arguing about, you know, nonsensical stuff.
Good conversation.
And sometimes, because Ethan's still kind of tagged into it, Ethan will get involved. There was a guy who was calling out that he was only seeing race in the whole cartoon. He was like, "Oh, why is this person got dark skin and all these other people have white skin? You're a racist." And it was on for young and old at that point. So it's just amazing the traction that these animations have. It really is a really successful way to package all the amazing entertainment that these guys are putting out there. It really blows my mind. So yeah, I was exactly the same. Like, as soon as that happened, I was like, well, I guess I have to make another one.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I know.
I hadn't planned on it.
I woke up after the Space Ghost thing to like 300 or 400 subs, and I thought there was a mistake. You know, I was like, wait, what? What did I do? You know, and then I was like, oh, that's right, the Space Ghost thing. Like, okay, dope. You know, I think, to your point though, it's like the one thing that is kind of great about what we're doing, and I think it's, you know, CG as a whole it doesn't have to worry so much about. There's no rules. There's no PC police. It's just like, as long as it's within somewhat good taste, and you're, again, being honest and true to your customers and fan base. It's like, yeah, you don't want to talk down to people, but it's like, I also don't need to watch what I'm saying for fear that some psycho is going to come at me because they're slightly offended by something. It's just like, look, we can all be adults here, and mainstream can't do that. Mainstream used to be able to do that. Mainstream used to be able to be the guys that say, okay, this is the direction we're going, and we're going to push the envelope here. And yeah, maybe comics haven't done this before, but now we're going to do it again. And now it seems like they're trying to do that, but I mean, clearly nobody wants. I mean, did you see this new Black Cat? the
No.
design for it is ridiculous. I mean, and then you get the safe space and all that other
Oh,
stuff.
I did see that. I did see it. Yes, they made her all puffy and round.
And it's like, look, I look, why not just make a new character? Like, I don't understand why you have to reappropriate these characters for different types of people. Imagine if, like, they were like, a new Batman's coming out, and he's about 180, but most of that's in his stomach. Imagine, and I mean this in a loving, hilarious way, if the new Batman came out and he looked like the Caesar from Hail Salad. You would just be like, what the fuck is this shit? I can't. He's not jumping on buildings, Like, he's not punching anyone out without taking 5 minutes to catch his breath. Like, this is not why I'm here. It's a fantasy. It's like, if I want real life, I'll go outside. Like you got to give me some escapism. That's what I'm paying you for. I'm not paying $5 to be lectured on why these are the new standards of beauty. I mean, because that's fucking bullshit.
How they would they have the Hulk saying, I need to feel free to be ugly. It's just such cringe. It's such cringe. It's funny, especially with the whole virus thing going around. You've got people in their homes and they're just putting out content. And
oh yeah,
I've seen dozens of videos over the last few months that have been so hilarious. Way more hilarious than anything I've seen on something like Saturday Night Live, for example, for years. I saw a woman just yesterday, just a single woman. She's recording herself, and she's pretending to be like. So there's been some politician on the radio, and the politician was completely caught off guard, and it was a hilarious exchange with the host, with the presenter on the show. And she's just recording herself being the two different characters, the radio presenter and then the politician. And it's friggin' hilarious. And it's like, these are just normal people out there who don't give a fuck, who's just like, screw this, kind of watered down. Hey, we've got to be worried about offending anyone. We can't hurt anyone's feelings. Like, this is, just, raw stuff. And it is hilarious.
That's because these oh, go ahead. Sorry, my bad.
No, go, of course.
No, I think it's because these corporations have gotten to a point where they are so fucking asshurt if 10 cents goes out the back door that they just want to appease everybody, and it's like, you can do first and apologize later. And it's just like, when you do that, you create a perpetual state of mediocrity where you're not allowed to do anything that's anything but derivative. And it's just like, oh, okay, so, who are the characters we have? Well, we got Batman. All right, let's do a Superman, Batman thing. And, we got Joker. And, all right, we'll do this. And what's a new story? I'm going to tell you something. There's no new stories. There's no fucking new ways that you can do any of this shit. What you got to do is you got to either create brand new characters, or you got to get people who haven't been in the industry for 40, 50 fucking years doing the same shit. Like, look, Neil Adams is great, but Neil Adams needs to retire. Okay? I love Walt Simonson, but like, you got to put these guys out a little bit so you have room for new talent to come in. Because if you don't do that, it's just going to be the same fucking shit over and over and over. And it's like, eventually, even the hardcore fans are going to get bored of that. And you're not going to get any new talent. You're not going to get any new eyes that are like, oh, let me go look at this, Batman comic or whatever it is that's the same. I mean, how many times can they kill Robin? It's like, how many Robins can you have? Powers? It's just like, I got it. You don't need to keep redoing it. Or, you get like the beta cuck X-Men where you're just like, oh, whatever you want. I don't care. We're all going to live together in fucking kumbaya land. It's like, it's trash.
You know what you get? You get Comicsgate. That's what you get when you just continuously do that shit. Planet Tobor is a dude. He's a guy called Matt. Anyone who isn't subscribed to him, go check this guy out. This guy is this is the funniest guy I know. I love this guy. He gets me in trouble. He gets our channel struck because he's too funny, and his impersonations are too on point. Impersonations. I'm a huge fan of impersonations. That guy, Planet Tobor, he did a killer impersonation of, and I'm going to call him Rand Stee.
Okay.
Not the other way around, because we all got our channels struck because some Chinese company apparently holds the rights for all likenesses of
I didn't know that.
the Rand the Man Stee, and but this guy, fantastic impersonations, and that's another thing that is what makes your your cartoon so good, and just all these CG shows is amazing impersonations. And I think, like, for example, Cecil doing Doug, and
sure.
Ethan's little quirky voices, like, oh my god, this just had so much value, so much entertainment. They've had me in tears sometimes listening to these guys.
Yeah.
I could just picture Planet Tobor saying, "Incelsior."
That's hilarious. Yeah, I think last night, right? They had that stream. Even through a zombie stream, they made $852,000. That's fucking unbelievable. Nobody can say anything, to that degree. I mean, yeah, I know McFarlane came out, but McFarlane is McFarlane. Okay, McFarlane is the crew. It's like, it's a little bit different, and he's selling a toy. But and the McFarlane is not part of a grassroots movement, at least not anymore.
The average like order value, I guess, for want of a better word, on his campaign would be huge. Would be absolutely huge compared to Ethan's, where I'm sure you would be getting a lot of people just buying the comic.
Yeah,
and that's at $25 or something like that. So it is not quite the same thing, but and it's just a testament to the show he's put together and the audience he's cultivated.
Yeah,
and the whole following around that, and we got a shout out on his show yesterday.
Oh yeah. He said that.
I heard that.
You and Deadwood Dale and Geek Chorus were the ones that he enjoyed. When we had new content up, so that was cool. It's nice to know
Geek
that
Chorus he does your music.
He did one song.
Okay.
Not even for me. I had asked him if he could send me a version that didn't have the music in the background because I needed it for the lip sync. Although I ended up only using it for one shot for the lip sync, so it didn't really matter. But the Trebuchet song worked really well with what I was thinking of doing with the Donny Cates character when I flung him into space.
Yep.
So I was, that worked pretty good. And I'm going to ask him if he wants to help on the campaign. I'm going to need a song for the trailer that I'm going to build for the cartoon, or for the Indiegogo rather. We could talk about that for a minute. We haven't talked about that in a second.
Yes, we will get to that, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
I just wanted to play. I don't know if you've seen this. This is a little, what is it, 15-second thing that I did.
Great.
It's not new. It's been out for about a week, but it's just a little 15-second thing I did. I don't know if you heard. There's a thing going around the other week of people getting upset about the orcs, how they're represented in fiction, in gaming and movies and stuff, because they think that orcs represent certain races. So yeah, let's give this a play.
The flight meat's back on the menu, boys.
I am so sorry. I promise we don't all think you're like that.
What? Oh my God. You need to have her in the next shot, leading him out of the theater by holding his dick.
Yeah. I just that came into my head, and I'm like, I don't really have time to make an animation, so I just made a little 15-second thing.
Yeah.
But you are absolutely right. Let's chat about your upcoming campaign. Let me see. I'll just share the screen. Here we go.
I mean, look, there's it's just a page. It's just for emails, you know. So there's not a whole lot going on. Honestly, the covers that I showed earlier in the stream is the newest piece of content.
Yeah. Maybe you want to show them again because we got
just
more
in case.
people in here.
Where did I put them? Here we go.
Let's get you.
I'll do that in a second. We can talk about this.
Okay, yeah, let's talk about this. So what have you got here? What's going on?
So it's just issue 1, and you know, with any luck, it'll be 2 issues. It'll be anywhere from 24 to 32 pages. Hopefully, it'll be 32. It's 32 with stretch goals, but I'm going to leave the stretch goals relatively low so that people get a full book. But you know, it's just to cover my ass. Should it only reach a certain amount, like I can't, you know, spend forever on an extra 8 pages. So, and essentially, it's the Iliad. It's the Trojan War. It's, you know, what I kind of see Comicsgate as in 2018. You know, everyone thinks they have a claim to something, and then you sort of have your heroes and villains, and it's just like, okay, it made so much sense to me. And then when I started thinking of Wenger as the Trojan horse, I was like, okay, that's fucking hilarious. So I was like, all right, let me see if I can make this work. I will say it now. Maybe I shouldn't. I'm not going to say. But that is not Anna in the picture there.
Yeah, did you see that we were speculating on
they speculated on Jack's show a couple times.
It's because of the hair.
Yeah, and I think
we were wondering
people want
who is
Anna
this?
and haven't seen her, but no, it's not her.
Yeah. So
and
we're waiting.
Someone thought it was Renfimus. I will never give that person the time of day. I will never animate her. I will never give her a reason to try to screen Skype me. So yeah, that's not her.
You mentioned earlier that we may be seeing Anna and Kelsey in your next house art. Very cool, very cool. I think people are eagerly awaiting to see that more characters come in, because I loved your Wanger. That was just because I'm a huge fan of Wanger. I've been only shown once, and it was friggin' hilarious. I love watching him. I love that guy. Yes, Samurai asks, is that Zach in the crown? Yeah, that's Zach.
Yep, and you will see how he gets the crown.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and you'll see how Ethan gets his oyster shined shoes.
And you're the artist here. You're going to be doing all the interiors as well.
Yeah, actually, I can show you some stuff if you want to.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. I'll get you. Are you going to share screen?
I'll do that right now.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure that this is where I want it to be. I don't want that. All right. So right now, I just have a couple of outlines. I've actually shown them on other streams, but I'll give it a good second now and not push away too fast. And all right, I'll just do this and share. All right, you tell me when it's up.
All right, it is.
Okay, so this is just line art,
Yep.
and this is after one of the earlier battles, and Ethan is like kind of cleaning off his sword, and he sees that Zach is, you know, scalping the trolls and eating their brains, and then after the conversation, the two in a very Batman and Robin-esque kind of panel decide, you know what, let's do this together. You know, let's take these fuckers down together. And they say something about how they have to get into the troll castle, and then, you know, there's sort of the tower of power shot of the two of them getting ready to go. I can imagine to be continued down here, but it won't say that. I'm pretty sure I'm going to, you know, move on. And then this is where they decide to get the idea for the Wenger Trojan horse. And now moving over here. Oh, that's less. Oh, this actually comes before that. I should have shown this earlier, but this is just one of the 2-page spreads of the two of them, you know, fighting. And, you know, it'll be fully inked, and, you know, it won't look so simplistic. And then, go here. This here on the right is the full page, the first page. So it just, you know, throws you right into the battle. And then, of course, on the side.
I love Ethan's shoes.
Yeah. So, like I said, that is hair are green, and then you see exactly how he gets the holographic look, which is also kind of like a loving nod, you know, because it's like everything's chrome, everything's kind of blinged out, and so that's kind of what I was going with on that.
Man, I think what you're doing there with the let's add this back. Oh, lost Camel. Lost you there for a second. Okay, you're back.
Okay.
I think what you're doing there with the cartoon, and then you can get the book. The fact that it involves all these people, like, you know, they're your characters, but they're based on real people that we all love, and we all know their story, and we want to see your interpretation of like our history as CG in this crazy, like, super trippy way. I think you're gonna do really well with this.
You know,
I think, and I know you've already got, and you know, you just sort of started promoting it, and you've already got a bunch of signups to this. So I think you said you're going to launch on July 4th.
That was going to be a surprise, but that's okay.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. No, that's all right. It's okay. I should know if I'm going to say anything. It's going to go out there. July 4th. Because the trailer was going to allude to that, but
I'm so
what I'm going to
sorry.
do though is the after episode 4, which will hopefully launch. You know, it's a longer episode. Most of my episodes are about 4.5, 5 minutes. This one's almost 7.
Oh wow!
There's a lot
and
of stuff
if anyone who knows, like, when you're talking animation, that's a massive deal.
Oh yeah, that's like, I mean, it's come down to me where it's pretty much 3 days per minute. So it's like it takes a minute, and I'm doing it on the cheap, right? So I can't even imagine if I was actually animating it, like, you know, traditionally. So after the 4th episode, I'm going to start working on the trailer immediately, and then from the trailer, we'll get to episode 5. I want episode 5 to be able to go up around the time that the campaign is live, right? So as sort of a form of marketing, but also like a reinforcing of the characters and the product.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
I think
go ahead.
You've just sort of taken the method, you know, the grab and all method, and you have just raised the bar and you've ratcheted it up. You know, you just kind of just come out of nowhere and catch the eye of Ethan, and then, you know, subsequently catch the eye of all of Comicsgate. And not even that, you know, these are really hilarious, awesome cartoons just on their own.
Yeah.
You know, anyone who just kind of stumbles on them can see, you know, this is quality stuff and this is funny, and they're just going to subscribe to it, even if they don't quite know the people yet, and maybe they can go and find out later. And then, you know, use that momentum to put out your book. And I think I think you're doing it really well. And I suspect this is going to take off.
I hope so. I'm approaching it from, you know, the Saturday morning cartoon, you know, I don't know, business model, right? Where it's just like, create the product that people are interested in and can identify with, you know, and then it's like, once they know the characters, then you release the line of Ninja Turtles, right? Then you start releasing all of the other stuff. You know, it's like that line in Ghostbusters where he's like, the franchise rights will make us rich beyond our wildest dreams. You know, that's kind of the hope. It's just like, so if you can give them something that, you know, because I think about when I was growing up, you know, I'd be watching the X-Men cartoon, and I wanted to go out the next day and buy every fucking X-Men toy that was out there. You know, it's like you as a fan, you have this sort of like this interest. You have like this sort of personal possession that you attach to these things where you're like, hey, you know what? I want to be a part of this, whatever it is. I mean, even if it's just on a consumer level, you feel like an attachment to it. I'm probably realistically never going to draw an X-Men comic, but it doesn't mean that I don't hold it dear to my heart as something that I remember, you know, as being a beloved franchise that, you know, I took interest in, you know. So I think if you could try to mimic that, and, you know, everybody working together, you know, supports that business model, right? I mean, there's no bullshit in Comicsgate unless you're anti-Comicsgate.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Pat Lee's reaction to Camel Moon on Frager's stream was priceless. Did you catch that? I'm not sure who Pat Lee is, but apparently
I didn't catch Frager's stream, unfortunately.
So maybe that's something you'll have to go back and check out. Something sounds
Johnny
like it's
Rando,
something good to watch.
Can you post when or what stream that was?
Yeah, well, we are very we love to see people react. When Ethan he's played my videos, he's played a bunch of them now on his streams. And when he does that, it's such a trip. It's so surreal to see the kind of the subject of your you know, creation.
Oh yeah.
Reacting to it in real time, a lot of the times for the first time. and it's such a trip. It still kind of blows my mind when it blew my mind. Like yesterday when he said his favorite shows are Deadwood Dale, Camel Moon, and Geek Chorus, and I was like, yeah, that's right. Like I wasn't expecting him to say me because I know he knows who I am and what I do. But and then he said, "Oh, and Michael Bancroft." I was just like, "Whoa, what the hell?" You watch these guys for years, and you're in the chat, and you just because you feel like you know them, even though they don't know you. You
It's
just
a
kind of
psychological term for that. I can't remember what it's called.
There must be, and you have this weird stalkery connection to them.
Yeah.
So it's
But I think from like a consumer standpoint or just a fan, I think if
absolutely.
anything, it shows that it's possible. I think that's the biggest point. It's like, God, I can't tell you how many times I was turned down at a convention, and I was told specifically, "We don't do '90s art anymore." That was the quote that I got. And I'm not going to say from who, but it was a very high end guy, and he was like, "You need to do stuff like." Like we're doing now, which is basically storyboards. So, over the shoulder, reverse over the shoulder. If they don't have a coffee cup in their hand, then you're doing it wrong. And I was like, what are you fucking talking about? This is crazy. I was like, I'm not drawing this. He's like, no, it's like, you want power shots, you want up shots, you want down shots, you want like, you need them like looking, they need to look cool. I don't want to see Batman like slinking over. I was like, this is crap. Like all of the comics matter like reductionist essays that Zach does about the Tom King. Was he doing Batman? It's
Tom King,
terrible. Yeah, and it's so true. I was like, I remember like actually being really excited when they announced that Batman was going to get married, because this is what I pictured. Right, I pictured they're going to be getting married, and then the Joker's going to break in and murder everyone, and then they're going to have to suit up, and they're going to have to chase him down, and there's going to be a big fucking fight on the top of the church, and it's gonna be raining. I was like, this is gonna be cool. Nah, we're not getting married. Nah, he's sad now. Batman's sad.
It's just Tom King working through his own personal romantic issues, pretty much through Batman. You're exactly right. It's completely outrageous. Planet Tobor agrees with you. Yes, storyboards. It's exactly right. It's
And that's what really turned me off to a lot of what was going on in mainstream. And I think there is still good stuff coming out there. I mean, that's not a lie. But like you look at like what Marvel was doing with the new Star Wars stuff, they were doing screen grabs of the actors' faces and just drawing over it. I was like, God damn, I would rather go look at the Walt Simons and stuff from
Marvel Comics were doing that.
Yeah, they were doing. I remember there was like, I don't know whether it was Comic Alliance or comicbook.com, whatever, but they had a whole article about it. This was about 3 or 4 years ago. There was like, what is this? Like, you're just like you're tracing. This is what comic books have become. But just you're not tracing faces. You're tracing body positions done in 3D meshes that are thrown on the screen. I was like, you're cheapening the art, and it's not. It's almost like you don't need to be as skilled. It's like, yeah, you might want to say, hey, it looks more photorealistic, but that's not the point of comic books. The point of comic book art is to like embellish certain things. It's not to diminish them.
Absolutely, and because of the nature of the sort of the content that I put out, I will occasionally get drawn into these sorts of discussions about mainstream doing this. You guys, Comicsgate it's going to be gone in a year. You guys have no momentum. All you're doing is losing people, and I just say the same thing. It's basic economics. Look what Sean Gordon Murphy just launched his new Indiegogo, and it's already making serious money. Like, it's just basic economics. These big companies, Marvel, they can't afford. They'll get to a point where they won't be able to afford anyone good anymore, because all the good people will be releasing their own things through crowdfunding.
Yeah, and
they're just going to be left with these terrible artists who they won't. Even if they wanted to, they won't be able to be put in any work, any good amount of time on their work, because they're not getting paid enough. Because it's just sort of a downward spiral to the bottom for these bigger companies, just because of the way that they've set up the whole system. Whereas we can just go directly to the consumer, directly to the customer. We get to keep, any profit that we make. So it's in our best interest to put out the absolute best stuff that we can, to work the hardest on all of our stuff. I saw, Antoine. Antoine's a great viewer of mine. He's got a question. What applications are you guys using to animate? Flash and After Effects. So as for me, look, we were talking earlier, Antoine, that I don't know. I can't speak for Camel Moon, but the real animators like Scotty Richards and Joseph King, their animations are like proper, cartoons where they,
frame by frame.
Frame by frame sort of stuff. Me, I'll tell you how I do it. It's no mystery, right? I get a frame, I draw it in Illustrator, because Illustrator has these really good smoothing things on my brush, and so it all comes out really smooth, and I really don't want to be spending too much time drawing these things. So I do a frame in Illustrator, and then I just copy that frame, and then I open the mouth, and I have the mouth saved, so I just copy from, and then I put that into Premiere Pro, which is a video editing software. And then with the audio, you can see the kind of peaks and troughs of where they're talking and where they're not talking. And where it peaks is where they're talking, the mouth open. When you got the trough, that's the mouth is closed, and animation is done. So that's pretty much. Sometimes like I'll have something move, sometimes have something zoom, and they're just sort of the furthest that I go. So I'm using Illustrator and Premiere Pro almost exclusively. What are you using?
Oh, you guys remember the Mona Lisa was a Mac?
No.
It's like the first one.
What's that?
You should Google it. Can you Google it?
A Mona Lisa.
Yeah, it's a Mac.
I can have a look.
I believe it was called that.
Google. Or is it just called the Lisa?
Oh, that's probably what it was. Yeah.
Apple Lisa. Yeah, Apple Lisa. That's it.
Yeah. I used that in a application called ClarisWorks. Have you ever heard of this?
Oh no! You see, you're doing weird stuff.
Okay,
tell us.
You guys actually believe that? You're crazy. Like 25 years ago. Can you imagine doing all that with?
I know. I didn't want to say anything. Like, why are you using a Lisa?
No, but mine actually isn't too different than yours. I mean, I use Studio Clip Pro. I think it used to be called Anime Studio or something like that. For all of the characters, I export them in PNGs. And then I throw them into Final Cut X, of all things. And, I just, manipulate them in there. And for the backgrounds, I have a bunch of filters that I've either customized or bought and customized. But what I have found is that although a lot of people who are doing, traditional animation, or even if they're just like using like sort of Flash type animation, the problem is Flash doesn't have the bevy of effects that I use. So what is nice about it is that I'm able to create and generate a look that is unique to Hail Salad. So I mean, it looks a little bit like, I would say, like Aquatine, but like I'm able to do effects in there that even Aquatine couldn't do, because I'm doing the entire thing in Final Cut versus having to export certain clips and just having to deal with whatever the rudimentary effect filters are in Flash.
Yeah. Yeah. It's,
so, like, for example, like go to any clip. Well, maybe not this one, but any other shot.
Let's have a look here. I'll just track forward a little bit. Is that good?
Well,
I'll just start playing something, and maybe you'll.
Yeah.
I don't think a human woman would want that. It's got like spikes.
That's good. That's even better. Okay, that's good.
If I might,
yeah.
Okay. Can you
Was
go back to the frame?
Yep.
Okay.
I can.
Okay,
All right,
so this is,
and then we got a nice shot of the
of a wang.
wang dog.
Okay, so I can tell you from looking at it, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's about 13 to 14 layers.
Oh, wow.
And
you're getting way more. We're all getting way more intense than I do.
And the reason is that like I built templates. So I'm like, okay, Wanger is a template. Wanger is his own nested file. But if you were to open up that nest, then you would see, okay, so he's a tail, because the tail moves independently from the body. The weighing obviously is its own thing. I can move the arms up and down if I want to, and his mouth the jaw has to move so I can make him talk. And then the same with Ethan. Like, I think that shot in particular, it's only 2 shots. It's Ethan, and then the lip for the lip flap. But then the train in the background is its own filter. The front layer of the station with the pillars, its own filter. The back with the what do you call it? The bricks. That's its own not filter, but layer. And then even like it's kind of hard to see. I can't remember if I did in Photoshop. Sometimes I change it up. But where the stalactites are, there's a shadow on that. Sometimes I make that its own layer so that I can have people behind the stalactites. And I think you see that mostly with the Ethan shot, like his master shot, because he's a little bit more set in his background. And so it kind of adds sort of an illusion of depth to it.
Yeah, you are going way, way more in depth in this than I do. I think I can't even recall if I've ever had more than 2 layers going at any given time. Like just trying to get these things out.
Yeah.
So yeah, props to you, man. That's a lot of. There's so much stuff going on in there, but you can kind of see that when you watch. Let's watch a little bit more.
Like spikes on it.
Yeah, I guess it turns out that you were right again.
If I might just for one moment, Ethan, cut you off from your horse shit.
Okay, all right. I'll listen to you. Maybe you're right.
And start talking as soon as you're go.
He's a good friend of mine. He works over at FedEx.
Yeah, hi.
I will call you tomorrow.
Does the audio sound okay and everything? Can I just talk at you?
I see you've got an effect in there, the heat effect. What's going on there?
That's again another one of the perks of being in Final Cut. I mean, I have 1,000 filters, so I treat Final Cut like a linear Photoshop. So it's like, when you go into Photoshop, you have your filters, your layers, your effects, and that kind of stuff. And I have very similar stuff in Final Cut. So I'm like, okay, this goat person is in hell. So let's see if I can add sort of a heat effect, and then I can make it, sort of have wavy lines. And then you can just kind of play with that. And then, it's almost like, you just take any image and you apply filters and tweak them over and over and over. And that's like, you can create a pretty interesting, unique look that you can't necessarily pin. In the mid 2000s, you started seeing a collection of like movie posters that were coming out, and every fucking movie poster had either something chrome or a lens flare or some type of fog effect. And it was because those were the only 3 filters that Photoshop you had to use. And it was just like,
I remember those days.
It looks ridiculous.
I remember those days.
The what is it? I think it's the poster for Blade. And you're just like, okay, I mean, I know exactly where that lens flare is. You didn't even change it. Like, you just dropped it in there. I try to make it unique enough that people don't know what I'm using, because there's nothing that even aggravates me more as an editor or an animator. Well, I don't want to call myself an animator, but as an editor, to just be like, I know what software you use. You didn't even try to hide that. I mean, this looks ridiculous.
Johnny Rando's got that Couch Doodles clip. It's there's the date there, the time. Jot that down, and go check that out after the stream. That sounds good. So we always love it when people watch our stuff.
You don't want to EFAP it now?
Let's have a look. Yeah, I'll have to find it. Maybe someone could drop a link in the actual thing, and then I'll just be able to click on it. Yeah, if someone wants to do that, we can have a look at it. How funny was this? We got so much traction out of this single phone call. All of Comicsgate. I made a video on it. It went really well. It got like 1,000 views, and just everyone just did so well out of this. Yeah, I mean, it was just miles and miles of material, and it's so funny too, because I remember listening to the stream live when he called in, and the first thing that came to mind, as being someone who had been podcasting for about 4 years at that point, and like sort of like low key been in like, I wouldn't say the public eye, but at least the fan base of Double Toasted. I was like, this is the worst thing that Cates can do right now. This is like all that's going to happen is he's going to make himself look bad, because he's going to like try to like have some type of, I don't know, moral high ground. And Ethan is just going to give this guy all the rope he needs to hang himself. And that's literally all that came out of it. I mean,
I got material out of it. And then, you know, how many other fucking people did an entire stream talking about that stream? I was like, it did nothing. It was like, really, if you really don't want people to talk about you, then don't talk about them. I think that's my biggest problem with all of anti-CG. You have all these people tweeting about how much they hate you. It's like all you're doing is you're giving CG ammo to prove to everyone else how fucking crazy you are. It's like CG will never die because the people who hate it won't let it die. I mean, and that's what's the sort of like tragic irony of the whole thing.
It is very sad. Like if you ever want to stop in and sort of see what they're going on about at any given time, it's like what sort of delusions kind of rolling around in their heads.
I think it's because they need a cause to gravitate towards. I used to joke on my old show. I would be like, the people who want Trump to be reelected the most are actually the people who hate him, because they need something to complain about. I mean, God forbid there was 4 years where they didn't have something to complain about. I was like, that he's going to. It's like they literally need a reason to get up in the morning and get pissed at something, and God forbid they look inwards and try to change their own lives. If these people spend as much time trying to do something of their own versus, shitting on the ones who are doing it, they would be maestros. I mean, they would be incredible, like super talented people. Instead, they're just like, oh, no, I'm going to do what I want to do, and fuck you for thinking otherwise, and I'm going to try to tear you down and expose you. I mean, this fucking idiot tried to expose me for the Space Ghost thing. I was like, there's nothing to expose,
Oh, you're saying, we caught you. You copied Space Ghost.
I was like, it's a parody. And they were like,
still waiting for someone to say, you're copying Ricky Gervais.
I mean, well, that's the other thing too. They were just like, oh, well, now, because they moved the goalpost. Now it's not that we're arguing that it's parody. Now we're arguing that you tried to profit off of it. It's like, God forbid you try to make some money off of your skill set. And it was just like, look, I mean, you could get as pissed as you want, but in the end of the day, there's two people, the people who do and the people who are pissed at the other ones who are doing it. And it's just like, no one is going to remember you for exposing someone. That will never happen. They're always going to remember the person that you're exposing in every case in life.
The way I put it is there's two kinds of people. There's the people who are capable of being content, and then there's the people who are incapable of contentment at all. Like it doesn't matter if everything is going perfect for them. They have to, they can't accept that, and they have to find something that's wrong somewhere and just point that out and complain about it. And that's what I just feel like these anti type people and the people who run around with them, that's what they come across like to me is, Ethan can make all this money on a thing, but no, they're going to point out, oh, well, he was late last time. Or it's just they're always going to find something negative to harp on about.
Yeah, I mean, they'll shift it, they'll twist it, they'll leave out, they'll cherry pick facts, and then all of a sudden, if you have a problem with it, then they are the purveyor of morals, and it's just like, all right, I don't know who appointed you as anything, but you're nothing. I don't really give a shit what the fuck you think,
All right, we got this video here. Let's see what they say. I think this is coming towards the end, so we'll just check it out. Ooh, sound. It's so trippy.
Launch them to the moon so they can stay so very far. Your world trails make them fly. Oh, trebuchet.
So everyone, we're looking up here in the corner for Pat Lee's reaction right now.
Oh, okay.
He's the second from the top. He's directly under Frager.
My own stupidity. I ruined the flow of the show.
I love how he's stroking him.
Everything's a matter of timing, Cecil.
I wish I had someone to spiral to.
There you have it, Pat. How you doing, man?
That's put together by a fan. So Pat, that's put together by a fan, and all the audio, he just cuts things. Like none of it's ever meant from like one spot to another. It's his edit completely. So he pulls Ethan, mine, Cecil's.
He's crying.
Yeah.
So the chat is saying the chat is saying that there's another camel video that
Michael Green posted a different video. He just posted it again.
I don't know how to grab a link.
I think he's just at a loss. He's at a loss for words. He's just
that's hilarious. I mean, that's great. I mean, that's hopefully the reaction that you want. I think I realized that, this thing had legs when I would go and watch old streams of, not old, but like maybe I'd missed one, or I'd, like 2 or 3 days had gone by, and I would just have it on in the background. And then I would just see these little like orange tabs keep coming up. And it was Camel Moon. It was people talking about Camel Moon in the chat. For an episode I wasn't even watching, and I was like, "Oh, that's kind of awesome." I was like, "Okay, so that's good, right?" It's sort of name recognition. It's actually why I went with my company name versus my name, because I was like, it works better for the brand overall. At least I think.
CG World Order's shown up. Hail Chat, hail Michael Bancroft, hail Salad, and hail Camel Moon too. Can't forget the man of the hour. We love CG World Order over here. Yeah, totally. Hey, we're coming up on an hour and a half. I think I might wrap up. I think we've had a really cool discussion here.
Yeah, it's been great.
I love getting to know people. I want to do this more. I want to get CG creators onto channels and just sort of get to know them a little bit, because I didn't know your background. I didn't know kind of where you were coming from, and now I do. And it's been really cool. But I did promise people I've got a 25-second clip, a snippet.
Oh, of your new one. That's what I thought we were watching.
It's coming up new.
Yeah.
So let's have a look at that. Where is it? I got to make sure I share the audio too. All right.
And nobody wants to speak out. Going to be like, oh my goodness, even though he is 100% absolutely right about this problem. I do not want to be attacked by cat ladies on Twitter. I'm afraid of that blue-haired land whale. I'm fucking Ahab. I'm Captain Ahab of the blue-haired land whale. Fuck them. This hobby means something to so many people. You be Captain Ahab too. Tell the truth. Talk about what's gone wrong.
There you go.
That's hilarious. I like the shot of, it's almost like you're crossing the Delaware.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
I've got all the guys in here too. So we've got Kelsey, Cecil, John, and even your boy Zach is in there. I hope I got those likenesses fairly well.
The guy you have as John looks a little bit like, I can't remember his last name. I think his first name is Eric. He's doing the Yellow Brick Road or the Battle Brick Road.
Oh, he look. No, that's Eric Weathers.
Yeah, he looks a little like Eric.
Now that you say that, he does look a bit like.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not a caricaturist. I've always been in awe of people who can draw likenesses like that. You know, with in a different style. What's the
Awesome.
Good stuff. And then we've also had the, where is it?
Oh yeah, that looks good.
Woman in a cat box, in a litter box.
It's almost like frustrating. It's just like, don't make yourself such an easy target. It's just like, I don't know. It's kind of ironic in a way. This like, what was her name? Camilla Zahn or whatever, who got fired. It's just like, you are being part of an identity, and you are willingly fulfilling that identity. I did an episode of my old show. It was called Red Caps versus Blue Hairs. And it was about the culture war. It was about like the possible Civil War too. It was just like, it really does seem to be an identifier very much, that it's like, well, if I, dye my hair, or at this point, sometimes I wonder if it's just wearing a mask in public. I am completely left, and I will not be listening to anything else outside of my own little worldview. And you know, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of funny to recognize that stuff because, like, you know, I live in Austin, and oh my god, I mean, it's the SJW capital of the world.
Is it? Is it?
Oh
I thought that was Portland.
Well, maybe we're number 2. And
We live in Melbourne.
There's no chance
Melbourne is that
whatsoever.
place of Australia.
Oh, what's that?
Melbourne is the that's where I live. That's the same
oh yeah,
same situation in Australia.
Yeah, but what I was saying is there's no chance that you're going to meet someone who has dyed hair and they have conservative views or they have moderate views or even maybe left views. Like they're almost always alt left, and it's just like I can't deal with this. You guys are so. It's like you ever hear of a horseshoe theory?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a horseshoe theory. It's like if you were extreme left, you're pretty much like identical to people on the extreme right. You're just like I can't like have a conversation with you where you're going to be like listening or be objective to anything that isn't outside of your own worldview.
Yeah, so the ideas are different, but you've strayed so far from the center that to a normal person, it doesn't matter if you're saying you know, some crazy thing because of communism, or you're saying some crazy thing because of I don't know, what would it be on the right?
Anarchy.
Anarchy, exactly. You know, like it's all it's so far outside of the center that it's really difficult to make that connection with normal life. You know, everything is this purely ideological you know, end goal, and it's just the reality kind of gets in the way at that point. I think that's what's going on with a lot of these people. Is the reality is getting in the way of what they want life to be and what they want the world to be.
Well, I think a lot of them too are ideologues. And generally, when you see that kind of behavior, especially in, I don't want to say, well, like, you know, middle class America, it's because they haven't had any like strife in their life, right? They've pretty much limped along. I mean, it's like you see these people complaining on Twitter that, oh no, for the first time in my life, I need to go get a job that's not comic book based. You draw silly people for a living, and now you're complaining. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, go get a real job, and then complain about not having a job.
Not only do they make something of a living off drawing people, but they, you know, they treat it with such, you know, entitlement that they can just do what they do, and it's their own artistic expression. And if you don't like it, don't buy it. And you're all, you know, if you don't agree with me politically, you're all bigots, and I'm going to block you all. And then all of a sudden, when, you know, paychecks are harder to come by, now they're like, what's happening? What's going on?
You know? Oh, you know, it's like, you know, yeah. And then of course, you know, they shift the blame. Oh, you know, CG is it's only working because they are exploiting people during a time of crisis. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, you don't genuinely seriously believe that, do you? And if you do, then you're like truly an idiot. Like, you're just there's no arguing. It's like the Dunning-Kruger effect. I can't convince you you're stupid because you're too stupid to realize it.
Have you seen the rap battle that's currently happening between Frege
It's
and
hilarious.
Stan Comics?
Yeah.
Like,
I might need to put 6 a.m. in something because it's so
where
good.
else? He's amazing. He is.
He's like,
how is he
not
doing
good.
it?
He's like amazing.
I have no concept. I have literally no concept of how he actually does that. But anyway, where else on the internet is that sort of thing just popping up?
Yeah.
And it's, you know, we're just a group of guys hanging out doing all this stuff. Like, you're doing your cartoons, I'm doing mine. People are streaming. People are doing rap battles. People are making amazing comics. They're making hundreds of thousands of dollars on their, like, where else is this happening? This is where it's all happening right here, right now. It's all so much fun. And I think just what happens is people realize they can't compete. They don't have the talent. They don't have, they're not able to have fun. They can't like get in on the joke. Like, you know, what happens when you get a bunch of guys together and you put yourself out there is people will start ragging on you. The banter will begin, and you'll get a nickname, you'll get a meme, and you've got to roll with it because that's the fun. And if people for some reason can't, they fall off, and they all just become so bitter, and they're like, why aren't you over here having fun with this? We're having the best time over here now. We've gotten past that period where the SJWs were just like really hammering Zach and EVS, and now we're into the reward stage.
I think
those guys cleared the
Go ahead.
field, and now all it is, we're just having fun here. So it's really weird.
I think too, like, a little bit back to like the picking an identity. If you need a hair color to suggest what your identity is, then your identity sucks. It means you don't have one. It means that you don't have a personality. It's just like, I'm gonna let sort of outside culture influence who I want to be. But you probably don't have much of a sense of humor, and it's like you need to be able to be a little sort of reflective and self-deprecative to say like, hey, I'm not perfect all the time. I can't be this pious individual. I can't shit on others because I don't agree with them. It's just like, just have a fucking good time. Just take the stick out of your ass for once in your life and realize that, like, what your perception of world peace is not going to happen, in your lifetime. And it's definitely not going to happen because you were a part of it.
Antoine Dennison, it's what I love about Antoine. Every time he comes in here, he just drops the best friggin' points.
Yeah.
And he always hits the nail on the head. CG is the death of ego. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like Ethan will play on that ego thing and flip it on its head and play off it like that. But in reality, when you look at the way we operate and the way we, say, for instance, structure our campaigns, and you look at what things like Zach is saying, like there are no celebrities. There are people who obviously have big platforms, but it's just like, it's about the work, it's about what we're doing, and it's about the fans. Above everything else, it's about the fans. And they come before everything. And if you go against them, like that's like the you're breaking the prime directive. That's the golden rule.
Oh yeah.
And it's
cult.
just
that's actually a cult. No, seriously. I mean, like, because it's like, no, you can't think outside of the box here, and if you do, we're going to dox you for it.
It's I was just looking just before coming on here. I was just very briefly looking at Sean Gordon Murphy's new Indiegogo campaign.
Oh, I have thoughts on that.
Well, my initial reaction was like, he's still kind of coming at this through the lens of like a mainstream guy.
Yeah.
He hasn't quite figured out the landscape that this whole crowdfunding thing is in a way that a lot of us have. Like, I'm a new guy. I have a completely unknown property. And on top of that, my characters, I'm not telling a story where people have lots of cool looking costumes and all that sort of stuff. So it's sort of an uphill battle for me. I'm gonna have to like sell my story, sell myself. Sure. It's an uphill battle. But at the same time, I've got like freaking 170 backers, and no one even knew who I was a couple of months ago. And, like, that's amazing. I've made $7,500 US on this book already. Like, because I've looked at how these guys work crowdfunding, how it actually works, the kind of attitude you need. And I'm sure Sean Gordon Murphy will do, his campaign will go really well. But I think, he needs to kind of get a grasp a little bit more on what this whole what this place is like, where you're on, this scene, because he also as well, he's talking about between stretch goals, like, come and hang out with me. And I was thinking,
that's not a stretch goal. No one cares.
That's right. Like, Sean, no one cares. Like, this is not, this is old thinking.
People want merch.
Like, who's gonna, I'm gonna spend my weekend with Sean. No, like, I get it. Like, you are a well-known person, but this isn't about celebrity.
Yeah.
You're not a rock star, you're not a superstar in that sense, at least. It's about what you're doing and what you're making. People want things in their hands. They want cool stuff. And more than anything, they want to be entertained. And that's what we're talking about here. We entertain people.
Yeah.
Replicators here. He's giving me a little pat on the back. Just moderately unknown. I was just going to say, sorry, Replicator, he has done it the other way. Like, his character designs are friggin' the things, he's got a character called Ghost who's just, I mean, it is perfection in my mind. So he's done really well from that sense. What were you going to say there?
Oh, my take on the Sean Gordon Murphy thing.
Yeah,
this is probably wrong. I mean, it could be completely wrong. I don't really know, but I'm wondering if his campaign is Wizard of Oz based, which I think is kind of ironic. If you look at the sketch that he released, it looks like Dorothy, the Scarecrow, the Lion, and a Munchkin.
Oh, I'll have to check it out closer.
And
I think
I was
I might
like,
do
that's a little
stream on
bad
it.
timing for Battle Brick Road. But I was like, that always happens, right? But I was thinking, like, if he wants to ingratiate himself, outside of Batman, he still almost needs to pick something that people kind of know. And I'm wondering if he's like, oh, I'll do a modern, what do you call it? Wizard of Oz take. I mean, it could just be me just sort of like looking at it and thinking a little too hard about it. But that was actually the first thing that came to mind. I was just like, so there's a possibility you could have two Wizard of Oz spin-offs in the same space.
Well, they used to do that for movies, so it could work.
Oh, sure.
CG World Order says, did he get in with Smiller to learn the ins and outs of crowdfunding? Maybe he did.
37 covers.
Noticaine, he's really trying to hold that comic celebrity vibe. That's the feeling that I get. He hasn't campaigned this in a way that we would normally think about you would campaign, like building up the buzz surrounding the story and the characters.
He's living off his name at this point.
Exactly.
I'm the guy who did Batman.
I'm Sean Gordon Murphy, and if it makes 500,000 or if it makes $1 million, he's just he's still in that thing. I mean, and he is a celebrity in that sense, but that's because he's on Batman and he's in DC. When you come in here, just like Noticaine says, fucking get down here in the mosh pit with the rest of us already. Yeah, that's the difference. That's what matters. That's what you got to do in this game. You've got to get in with the people, and you see every single time that someone's maybe their head gets too big, or they think they get the wrong idea about why they made all their money in the first place through crowdfunding, and then they kind of go off and they leave the audience behind and sort of put themselves up above the audience.
Sure.
It's just diminishing returns from there on out. You've got to talk to the people. You got to be among the people, because you are the people.
Right.
It's not like I'm the people. I don't think I'm anyone.
What's the guy, Mark Waid? He has an Indiegogo out. Or at least he's editing an Indiegogo that got put out. Have you seen this?
Yes.
I mean, it's it's a Captain America Justice League. I'm just like, look, how many times have I seen this? There was a video game in the 2000s, I want to say, and it was like, I can't remember what it was called, but it was like a Justice League rip. God, I'm gonna piss myself. I'm so annoyed. I can't remember what it was called, but it was only for like Mac and PC. It wasn't for any console or anything like that. Freedom Force. I think it was called Freedom Force, and it was just like, that was the joke. It was a rip, but it was almost like a parody. But this Mark Waid thing doesn't look like a parody. It just looks like, all those classic stories you love, and like, with new characters. And I'm like, I kind of feel in a way that the superhero genre is just totally dead, because we don't live in a world that necessitates superheroes like we used to. Like, it's just like, they even joke about that in the new Watchmen TV show on HBO. It's like, dressing up in a cape is kind of stupid. And if you're holding on to that, you're just going to make something that's so derivative, it's going to be really hard to create anything fresh out of it. At least if you're, telling the story of the woman getting mugged in the alley and the dude with the black mask saves her. It's just like, we've seen it. There's nothing you can do with that that's worth exploring, I think, for the 800th time.
It does, you are right. It's been done in pretty much every single way now. It's so hard to get something new. I do like what blanking now on it. Peregrine. I like what they're doing. Greater Point 5. They're kind of coming at it like heroes have been deconstructed by the mainstream for so long. We're going to reconstruct it. And it looks like they're doing a sort of a bit in the way that what's it called? The Incredibles sort of went. We're going to go back to how superheroes were in the in the 50s,
Mhm.
and kind of recapture some of that original magic, and try and tell a new story from that. And it worked for them. So there's definitely ways you can get it to work, but you're right, it is really hard because we've seen every single thing. And you're exactly right. When I saw that campaign, I mean, that with Mark Waid on it, talk about underwhelming. Just there was literally nothing on that page that would ever compel me to even click anything on it.
Yeah,
it just looked really
and I
like
mean,
everything you've ever seen, a mash of everything I've ever seen before, and nothing new and nothing interesting.
I mean, yeah, it's just white dudes with fucking beard or masks. It's like, okay, I got it.
Yeah.
You know.
Blue Samurai asked, "What's the name of Sean Gordon Murphy's campaign?"
Oh, it's not up yet.
This is another thing. No, it is. It's gone up.
Oh, it
the
is?
Campaign's
Oh, I thought
up.
it was
Yeah,
just
yeah.
a photo.
No, it's the campaign's up. He's already made a bunch of money.
Oh, okay. Then I'm totally taking back that Wizard of Oz thing because I have no idea what I'm talking about. I thought that was just a photo he released.
Okay, yeah. I will actually have a look at it quickly. It's called The Plot Holes, which is just. I mean, the first time I heard that name, I thought, what? And then every single time that anyone has ever mentioned his thing, it has they've said the exact same thing.
Yeah, it's
what's
tough
up? What's up with that name?
I
Plot
mean,
Holes.
when I picked out Hail Salad, and I've done a lot of different properties before. I made an independent movie called Platooth, which was the Tooth Fairy gets drafted to Vietnam. I did another independent movie called El Pimpo Maximo, where it's about a pimp in the 70s who's a virgin. And I was like, I tried to make sure that the names were unique enough that when you Google them, that it doesn't just, just get lost in the litany of response that you would say, or the lists and lists of results. So I don't know, when I hear the plot holes, I'm like, is that even going to Google well? I mean, is it going to resonate with people and stick in their minds?
I just I wouldn't put anything with holes in the name. I just think there's so many ways you can make fun of it,
You're also opening yourself up to direct criticism. If this thing has any plot hole, anyone who wants to tear him down is going to use that name against him.
And as well, does this guy on the left here, does he look a bit like Sean Gordon Murphy to you? Does that I'm seeing a resemblance there. That's the first thing that came to my mind when I saw it. And I'm thinking, oh, okay. But yeah, I just think so. He's got the name, the plot holes. I'm not really digging that at all. From fan favorite comic book creator. There you go. Exactly. Here we go. From fan favorite comic book creator Sean Gordon Murphy comes an all new tale of action and adventure. Like, this is exactly what we were just talking about. This is not what people care about. I don't care if Todd McFarlane put up a crappy looking figure. It wouldn't have done as well as if his latest figure looks friggin' amazing. I mean, if you're a Spawn fan, it looks friggin' beautiful, and he's got all these cool things on it. Everything about it is cool. I mean, he's kind of like the king of cool, isn't he? And he sold the whole thing on Spawn figure, Spawn character, and it went berserk. He didn't come out there and say, "Hi, I'm Todd McFarlane. I revolutionized the comic book industry in the 90s, and I've revolutionized the toy industry." And like this is Spawn. This is like we're up to our 300th issue of Spawn, so we're going to celebrate with it. Like, it was this. It's just, I don't know. I think Sean is going about this a bit the wrong way. Obviously, he's doing quite well. He's nearly got 1,000 backers.
How long has he been up?
I don't know. And look as well. He's doing the full 60 days. So he's not doing the play the algorithm thing.
Also, you can tell he has 50,000 as a fixed goal. So I mean, already he's he only just recently made his goal.
As well, that's another thing that we wouldn't normally suggest. He was going to have a long period of lull, sort of dropping out of the help of the algorithms. I mean, he will be up there just because of based of who he is. But look, check out his page. It's just text. It's just text.
Oh, geez. That's probably because he doesn't have anything done yet.
That's the thing. It's like, yeah. So I've got some.
Well, it's funny because in the thumbnails, it looks like you can click on stuff. I don't know why you wouldn't put that in the pitch. Hello?
That's what we got on the thing. Oh no, there's something here. There's something here. Print pack. Yeah, and it's all looks pretty cheap. Oh, I think I saw 5,000 here, 200. No, okay, he's got a bit on there. What's the entry level? $10. Oh, or $1. Thank you.
Oh, well, he fucked himself. Yeah, I mean that's
What
worthless.
is
And then he has
going
a
on
digital
here?
copy, which I'm not gonna do a digital copy.
Yeah, don't do digital. Yeah, like you said, people want things. They want to hold things. They want to receive things. So yeah, I mean, I just don't know why he didn't reach out to some people who have been doing this for the last 3 years and pretty much own the entire space now. I don't know. Maybe I could think of a couple of people off the top of my head. I'm sure they would have helped him out. But anyway, but yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah. Well,
all
we'll
right,
see how
guys.
it goes.
We are coming up on the 2-hour mark. I was gonna wrap up half an hour, but it's just so easy to talk to you, Camel Moon. We definitely need to do this again. We should get in those other guys and they can show us up. You know, the ones who actually know how to, or who actually do put the effort in to animate all the little bits and pieces. Because it'd be.
I'm serious. I think we need to do a weekly animator podcast, or
that would be cool.
And that'll be our thing, right? If you want to know about what's going on in animation and CG, you can come to, you know, we can rotate the same way that the Jack Show rotates, but I think that would be great. It'd be good for all of our channels, and I also think that people would genuinely just be interested in it.
That is a really good idea. Let's get the ball rolling on that. That sounds good, because there's a bunch of us now, so you know we can definitely kind of lean on each other in that sense. So that's a really cool idea. All right, great. So I'm not gonna leave the stream on Sean Gordon Murphy. First of all, I'm going to put back up your campaign so everyone can make sure that they go
please send, you know, get your email in there. So what I'm gonna do, it comes with we were talking earlier about like doing stuff that's just a little different and, you know, giving actual merch out. So for my merch, and I haven't taken, I mean, I'm getting stuff in the mail now, so I haven't taken any photos yet, but we're going to do a couple of different things. We're going to do little plastic figurine standees. They're like transparent, but you can kind of see through them. They look like, God, I don't even know what you compare them to, but they look dope. They look really cool. So that'll be a tier, and we'll have all the characters in there. Instead of an ash can, it's technically an ash can. It's an ash can sticker book. So it's going to be an entire, what I'm calling the lost episode of Hail Salad. And it'll be probably 8 to 12 pages, full color. But it's technically a sticker book. So you'll be able to it'll come with 12 holographic stickers, and you can put them in there anywhere you want to kind of create your own story. And if you are part of the email, then you'll get an exclusive sticker that you won't be able to get if you just buy the ash can. So right now we're at 300 emails. I don't really want to launch till we're about 600 or 700 emails. I mean, that might be a pipe dream, but
you'll get there. You'll get there.
Then you guys, all of those people will get the exclusive sticker. And we're going to do t-shirts, and I think I'm working on getting a plush out. You know, I know Ethan's doing one right now. From my research, it's stupendously expensive. So I have to see if it's
high minimums.
Well, I mean, I'll give you guys the price now. If you guys want to leave me a comment or tweet me and tell me what you think, but like it's looking at, I'm probably gonna have to charge about $250 to $300 per plush. And that's crazy, you know? So it's like, because I'm not going to be able to make them, in mass, the same way that Ethan is going to, at least not for this campaign. If down the road, it looks like that's something people still want and I can get something better at a better price but for now, it's so expensive. I think even Tug said that he looked at doing that for one of his campaigns, and it was just ridiculous. So
yeah, it's the minimums. You really got to make a lot of them to get down. But man, that holographic sticker book sounds friggin' rad. I haven't seen anyone do that before, so that's great. Talk about that, because it's a really cool thing, and show what you've had there. You got those shiny
So I'll show this one more time. I haven't decided yet, but these were the options that I got from the printer. For the covers, this other one too.
It's so cool.
And some of them, it's really just the way that the hollow foil kind of lands on the print.
Take some good photos of them if you can. I know it's going to be hard with the hollow foil, and do that poll on Twitter. My vote is already in. I like the dark one. I like
Yeah.
the contrast. See what the people think, and because that looks really cool.
I might do like
also,
a GIF video of all three, you know, so that you can see it reflective, and then have
there you
people
go.
post.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a
Yeah.
good idea. So check out, like, look at his art, man. It's freaking amazing. Like, I didn't even know that this was you doing this. So he's a real artist. This book, I think it's going to go off. Just the link with the cartoon, the fact that it's based on all these guys that we love and guys that we love to hate. I think it's going to go really, really well.
Yeah.
And I also just before we close out, because this is my channel after all. If I've got it somewhere, here it is. If you haven't yet, get onto the Lucent. It's we got look. It looks like I've made a lot of money here. 12,000.
What's the US now?
What's the US? Let's scroll it. I always have it set in US, but it always reverts. We've been having trouble with this. We've talked to them. They don't want to change it. But anyway, okay. So look at that. 7,784, 172 backers. That's amazing, guys. If you haven't, make sure you go check it out. I got a trailer on there. I got plenty of art. You can. There's the cover. I've got a 10K stretch goal. There's my gift there.
Is that your top tier stretch goal?
That's my well, it's one that I have at the moment. We'll see how long it takes to get there.
I think you'll get there. I mean, to get 5 figures, that would be amazing. And I think that's a good realistic goal on your first campaign. You know, I mean, I was joking with you last night. I would like to hit 6 figures on the first campaign, but I was like laughing to myself as I was typing that out. But
wouldn't we all?
10,000 would be amazing.
Yeah, dude. I think you'll easily make 10,000. It's not even. I think that's going to happen for you for sure. But like I said, you know, with my book, I'm trying really hard to sell the story, because you know these kind of characters in normal clothes.
Yeah,
I sell the artwork. It is a bit of a different story. It's not this kind of superhero story, but
Sure.
For me to be sitting there on $7,700 is. Yeah, I am blown away.
Yeah,
the reception
it looks good. I mean, your coloring is great.
Thank you.
You color yourself, right?
Yeah, it's all me. It's all me.
Yeah.
It's the color row method. There's someone else doing that as well, doing it all themselves. I'm sure there's a bunch of people, but I've got this. I've still got to finish this thing off. This is I think the inks are pretty much finished by now. We'll see if I need to fix anything after the coloring, but I'm flatting this at the moment, so this will be fully colored. Everyone's going to get this. It'll be a gloss, full color print that everyone gets, every single backer. That was my $7,500 stretch goal.
Great.
But so we reached that, and look, Camel Moon, it has been really, really.
It's been awesome. It's been a fun stream, you know.
Awesome.
Yeah.
To chat with you. Replicators admonishing me, change my mindset. Yes, I know it is a great book, guys. The Lucent is a fantastic book. What I'm just referring to is we were saying it can be hard to sell things sometimes for the first time when it's an unknown property and they don't have those, the big kind of fragaboom guns and bullets everywhere. That's all I was saying. So Camel, this has been great. I love your idea. I think, we have a good rapport. I would love to get some other guys on, Joseph King, Scotty Richards, whoever else is out there animating in Comicsgate. We should all get together and chat this stuff because this has been cool. We can kind of highlight little, like I did today, show a little snippet.
I'm telling you, the administration of animation is what we need to be.
Let's do it. All right, guys. Hal Chat, thanks so much to everyone who came by and listened to this. This has been really cool. We've got 35 people in here. This has been awesome.
Okay, cool.
Check out Hal Salad on Indiegogo. Sign up to his to his email list, and we'll get that party started. All right, guys. Thanks a lot.
Take it easy.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.